Hi everyone, I'm Rita with Everything Homemade, and this entire video is going to dive right in to toilet training. Now, I personally like the word toilet training over potty training, but that's just completely personal preference. Both mean the exact same thing. So if you haven't seen any of my other videos and know anything about me, I am a mother of 6 children, and ranging all the way from right now, as of December 2019, my youngest is 14 and a half months old, and my oldest is 12 years old, and everybody else is in between those age groups. So I'm heading into teenage years, and I'm also starting all over again. And toilet training is huge. Lots of people, lots of parents, I should say, shy away from it or get scared about how to do it, or don't know when to do it, or there's so many reasons, but it's a necessity to get done. And so I figured this is a very requested topic. Lots of people ask me, hey, how do you toilet train your children? And so I figured I would make a special video dedicated to this topic. So first, when do you start? That is the big question. And you know what? There is enough answers all over the place to make it even more confusing. Some parents do it super early, like we're talking before the age of 1. If you look at the Chinese culture, they have grandma and grandparents and great-grandparents living with them, and they take on the task of toilet training before they are 1 year old. But that is the Chinese culture. This isn't Canadian culture. We, as a parents, don't usually have our grandparents and everybody living under the same house. So when do you start? How do you juggle it? Well, every mom will have a different set of opinions here. And I am not saying my opinion is right. What I do is the absolute only way. Absolutely not. This is what I do. So as there are different personalities of children, there are different ways to tackle toilet training, and this way works for me and my lifestyle. And if you can take some pointers out of this and apply it to your lifestyle, great. If you think that this just won't work, no problem. But there is more than one way to do things, and toilet training is shrouded with controversy just as much as breastfeeding. How long do you breastfeed for? When do you toilet train? What age? All of this, you know what? Everything should be up to the parent, and every child is different. And so we need to treat this as a child by child basis and parent situation basis and how things work. So this is what I do. Basically, I like to start toilet training my children when they are around the 14-15 month mark. This seems for me to work the best. One, they're already walking. I prefer this time also because they are very receptive, very easy in trying to please you all the time. On average, now listen, I say average because this does not just slate all kids, okay? On average, children at this age can understand simple commands. So if I say Meadow, which is my child, Meadow, put that in the garbage for mommy. She'll grab something and walk across the room to the kitchen and put it in the kitchen garbage. Or Meadow, go get me your balls. She can differentiate between the words and what it is associated for. She'll go and pick up all her balls. Meadow, go get the cat string, because we cat board, there's a lot of cat toys. She knows she can pick that up. So she understands. Yes, she can't talk to me in sentences and in words yet, but she talks to me with expressions and sounds. And if I know what she's saying through that, then we can communicate very well together. So there's enough communication, enough for her to learn, for when I introduce her a word that associates something, she knows what it is. You notice this stage is a lot of She points at something, goes and I say, let's say she's pointing at the fan. I go fan, and she goes back and I point at the fan again, and I say fan. And I may say this about 20 times in a row. But then the next day, I say, Meadow, where's the fan? And she points up where the fan is. So they learn words really quickly. So that's one other reason why I like this stage so much to start toilet training. Now, when I start slowly, and I get up to where I'm taking them a certain amount of time during the day. Now, before I even start putting them on the toilet, and I use a normal size toilet with a toilet seat, such as this. For example, this one is really cushiony. You can see how thick it is. This is the front. It's really cushiony, so it's really comfortable. Kids like to hold on to things, so this here is really nice because they can hold on. I really prefer the cushion ones. It's just a whole lot more comfortable for the child to sit. So I use a toilet seat. I don't like the transition between one of those small training toilets to a bigger toilet. I just go right up to the bigger toilet. That way they're comfortable in, that's normal way of life. This is where you go. So there's less transition. We only transition once from going onto the toilet. Now, toilet training is as much as training the parents as it is training the child. And the first step is training you as a parent. Then you train the child. What do I mean by that? I mean, you have to understand your child's language. You have to know about when that child is going to go. This is not a random guess. Now, yes, some of it is guesswork, but there's a lot of things you can do for that probability of just guessing to be quite accurate, actually. And I'm going to go through this first because this is key. This is key. And you do this for every child because not every child will be the same. Not at all. So what you do is a couple weeks before you figure, hey, we're going to buckle down and we're going to start toilet training, is you put a timer in your stove or on your phone or something, and let's say you put in 30 minutes. At the end of when that 30 minutes is up, you put your child on the floor and you remove his or her diaper and check to see if they're peed. And if they are peed, then you know that, okay, 30 minutes, we gotta pee. How fresh is that pee? And you might find this really gross, but if it's just a fact of life, okay? If the diaper is freshly peed, if you just lightly touch the top of the diaper, lightly, if it's moist still, it's within like the less than 5 minutes. If there is no moisture, because diapers are supposed to wick away all the pee so they feel dry, but yet there's pee in their diaper, then has been longer than 5 minutes ago. So that's another test. And you can see that. So what you want to do then is put a new diaper on if they're peed and put another 30 minutes in. Did they use the washroom? If they use the washroom again, okay, do the same test. So you basically are figuring out when about they use the washroom. Do they wash them every 20 minutes, every 30 minutes? Are you starting to toilet train a little older? The older they are, the larger the bladder on average. And so sometimes you can go every 40 minutes or every once an hour. Now, you find about a time that works. Okay, so with Meadow, I did this, and in all honesty, she is so random. She can have days where literally she is peeing every 8 minutes. And then you have some days where she goes for 50 minutes, and then we're about every 40 minutes. So she is called my random girl. Ocean, my second child, she was every 25 minutes. Bam, 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 bam. No problem. Orion, my oldest, he was about every 45 minutes because he was my first child. I didn't toilet train him till about 2.5 years old. So he was about every 45 minutes to an hour in that stage. All my rest of Nova, she was hard because she was every 3 hours. That girl had a bladder. She can hold that forever. Doesn't matter how much liquids you stuffed into that girl. She was like 3 hours. So that was really difficult because if you imagine, you basically got one chance in the morning to catch one pee, one chance in the afternoon, maybe two because she's snoozing. So she's probably going to pee in her diaper. And then you have a chance in the evening. So my probability went down. It took me 3 months to get a pee in that toilet with her, but I kept it up. 3 months, I was ready to pull my hair out. But as a parent, you have to stay calm. As long as you stick with it, you've got to get it sometime. So back to the minute. So let's say your son or your daughter goes to the washroom every 30 minutes. Let's just use a 30-minute. Then what you want to do is when you start taking your child to the washroom, you start in the morning. You wake up your child like normal. Everything stays normal, you guys. How you wake them up, how you snuggle them, when you give them their sippy cup, how much liquids they drink, keep everything normal. Don't change that. All you are is putting them on the toilet. You're adding that to the routine. So you take your child, you snuggle them. Good morning. How was your sleep? Or whatever you say, whatever you sing or snuggle or whatever. And then you say, let's try something new. Let's go onto the toilet and you're going to sit like mommy and daddy and we're going to see if you can go pee. Now they won't have a clue of what you're talking about. But that's okay. So you put them nicely on the toilet. Now, I have had all 5 of my children freak out going on the toilet. I don't know why. But as you can see here in the video that I'm showing you right now, Meadow goes on the toilet beautifully. She's the first one out of 6 to do this absolutely wonderfully. She sits there, she's calm. Mommy put me on the toilet. I don't know why I'm here, but mommy got some books that I like, some toys, and life is good. Now, she doesn't do anything, but you still give them praise. You give them praise whether they go pee or poo, or whether they go pee or poo or not, you still give them praise because they're good. You did an awesome job for sitting. Give them praise. They like to hand clap at that 14, 15 month mark. Good job. And they copy you and they copy and they yay. I'm sitting on the toilet. Now what I do is I give them praise, but I don't give them the same praise as when they go pee. So when they go pee, I go over and above like, yeah, Meadow, good job. And I don't want to kind of yell here because Meadow is sleeping while I'm doing this video. So you give them lots of praise. And so we start slow. You take them to the washroom in the morning. You take them to the washroom in the morning. You put them on the toilet. You try it out. And then you do the same thing in the evening. Forget about the rest of the day, the first day. I do this for a couple of days. If they are solidly cool with that, then I increase it to in the morning and in the evening. But then I take them before I feed them and after I feed them. So I do it before and after each meal. And if you took them to the toilet, then dressed them, then fed breakfast, and you're all within about 10 minutes, I don't put them on the toilet again. In the morning, I go bathroom, they get dressed, and then we have breakfast because I have breakfast already prepared for them. And then after breakfast, I take them to the washroom. So that's how I start. Then after that, if they're comfortable with that, then I beef it up again. In the morning, they go to the toilet, then they have breakfast, then they use the toilet, and then I put basically the sort of the close amount. If your child's every 25 minutes or every 30 minutes, then put a timer in and try to take them about that time. Now for me, Meadow is across the board. So that's one thing I want to talk about is the stress of mom. If you are stressed that you miss the pee, things aren't going to go well. You are going to miss them peeing. It is a fact of life. It's just what's going to happen. But what the key with toilet training is, it's not getting every pee in the toilet. It's about making the connection. Once you make the connection, they will tell you when they need to go pee. But you have to understand, for the last year, they've been running around peeing as they move around. That's when they go pee. So they don't understand how to hold their bladder. They don't understand the muscle mechanisms in doing that. What they do understand is, I walk around, I go pee. So you have to form a new habit. And so, as you know, forming new habits does not happen overnight. And so what you have to understand as a parent is that even if you only catch 2 pees, 1 pee a day, and you go, that's pee! Now, that's another key thing is, I don't say to Meadow, hey, that's pee, that's pee. I go, that's pee! I go into a higher pitch. And there is a reason for this, because she will associate with me putting her on the toilet and I go, Meadow, go pee. She will associate that particular high-pitched noise with pee. And it actually, once she gets used to it, she will learn that once she hears that, hey, I know what Mama's talking about better, and it just clues in. It's like if you always hear a bell at lunchtime. Instead of somebody calling you for lunch, they ring a bell. When you hear the bell, what's going to happen in your mouth? You're going to start, your mouth is going to increase in saliva because you are thinking of food. Your belly's going to grumble. You already know what's happening with just the sound. And it's the same thing is go pee. It creates this particular sound that helps them to, oh, mommy, pee. Okay. So that's what I'm working on. Now, I've been toilet training her for 2 weeks now. And I figured I would talk about this after my 2 weeks with her, because that's when I pick up all the fine details, because I haven't done this for about 5 years. And I'm very happy I waited, because now I can, it's the fine details that matter, that make the difference. So I tell them, go pee. And now 2 weeks later, yesterday, we got 9 pees in. And I'm doing about 30 to 40 minutes because she is so random. I just pick a time and I just stick with it. You know what? If I miss something, I miss something in her diaper. If I get it, I do. And with that, I got 9 pees in yesterday because she's starting to make the connection. So when I put her on, I give her the go pee, and she looks at me and is like, yeah. And yesterday, she's not talking besides mama, dada. She goes, kind of thing. She went, ee, as she peed. So she's copying a sound that is very audible for her to hear, but also to make. And so if she can keep that up, then if she's around the room and can make the connection enough to tell me, then all she has to go is go, ee, or something until she can actually say the words. So there is this communication. So that's what I see within 2 weeks. Now, we started with the same thing, and by both day 3, we were fully in because she was so comfortable on the toilet, and that we started to do this. And when I really realized that, man, she has no bladder control whatsoever, but we're getting lots of pees in the toilet, and that's the main thing, and she's happy, I'm relaxed, and she's learning what pee means and what I'm expected of her to do. We still have wet diapers. I'm still missing at least 50% of her pees a day. Am I worried about it? Absolutely not. What I am working on right now is not perfection. It is connection. And that is the key to toilet training. Once the connection is made, then she'll have perfection, okay, with it. As of poos, now you have to know your child. You have to know your child's face, and if you watch your child's face, A lot of children will make different facial expressions while they go poo. Some will go tomato red. They'll go and start pushing, and their face will just explode red. And you know, hey, I got like 4 seconds to pick up my child, race to the bathroom. Hopefully in that 4 seconds you've stalled them enough to race them to the washroom, whip off their diaper, and get them on the toilet. Or like Meadow, she kind of goes, she stares, and then she opens her eyes, and she doesn't move. She just stares, and I'm like, oh boy, you need to go poo. So I take her to the washroom. She will also always hold on to something while she does that. That's another key thing. And she doesn't like being pooed. Some children don't care, just like some children don't care if they're wet or not. She doesn't like being pooed. So, and she poos about 1 time a day. So I have 1 chance, but she usually poos after a meal. So, and it's usually at lunchtime. So I can narrow things down if I know my child. So that's really a key to understanding how your child works. Now, this isn't only theoretically. She can go poo in the morning, like this morning. I woke her up. She was in her bed, and she already pooed in her diaper before I even got her up. Whatever. You clean her up and you start your day. But on average, she goes poo in after lunch, and so I'm on guard. I really watch her because she will have that stare. She likes to fart a lot before she goes poo, so that's another thing. If she's farting a lot in her high chair while I'm feeding her, I will just take her out of her high chair and put her on the toilet, because there's a high probability she'll go. And sometimes she does that, then I put her off. Then she doesn't go. I take her and continue feeding her on the high chair, and I give her about 10 minutes, 5 to 10 minutes, because I know just by the look on her face, and she's kind of, farting and grunting a bit, then I know I need to take her again. And sure enough, we have, the ones that I've caught during the day, she has pooed in the toilet all week, minus the one in her bed. So that is high success, and that is really awesome. And that is training the parents. That's what I mean. Training you to understand your child before you even take your child and toilet train him or her. So that's really, really, really important. And the other highly important things with toilet training, I kind of mentioned this before, but I'm going to mention this again, is don't get frustrated. It took me 3 months to get a single pee from my middle daughter. It took Annika, my 5th daughter, she got her pees in really easily, but it took her 8 months to figure out how to get a poo in the toilet. We had accident after accident after accident. It took her 8 months to figure out how to tell me early enough to get it, because she was one of those children that would hide behind something and go poo and then walk out and say, Mom, look what I just did. It was frustrating, absolutely frustrating. But you cannot lose it. You go up to the child as calm as ever. Annika, poos go into the toilet. You got to tell Mom, we need to take that into the toilet. So you clear the diaper into the toilet to show them where it goes. And I did that day in and day out, 8 months, to get her getting her into that rhythm, to get that poo in the toilet. And it does not help to get frustrated. It doesn't help to yell at your child. It doesn't help to flip out. That just makes everything worse. That's just throwing a grown-up tantrum. That's all it does. And so you have to be calm. The same with when I'm toilet training Meadow. If I just missed her, that's okay. You know what? I got two peas in already today. We're making a connection. We're making headway. The only way that you're not going to succeed is if you quit. If you quit, nothing's going to happen. Nothing's going to go. She or he will always pee and poo in her diaper. You have to make an effort. If you make an effort and keep going, no matter how bad the day is, you will succeed, and your child will succeed. And there's some days, like yesterday was rockin' awesome. 9 peas in the toilet. The other day, 2. The previous day, I think it was 1. It was like a horrible, horrible day. It was when she pooed in the toilet. It was a poo and a pee at the same time in the toilet, and I was like ecstatic. But that was it. So you're gonna have the days where you're gonna go 10 steps forward, and then you're gonna have days where you're gonna feel like you took 100 steps backwards, but really you didn't. It's just, that's how training goes. If you are training anybody, an athlete, an animal, a child with anything, you cannot expect them to go forward every day. There's going to be some going backwards. Another big issue that comes into toilet training is teething, or a cold, or a flu, or a sickness in some kind, or maybe maybe there's a death in the family, and you have a week where it's just not going quite right, or maybe you got sick as a mom or a dad. If you're toilet training, like, this isn't just for moms, this is for dads, this is for parents, grandmas, anybody who's toilet training. Life is life, okay? But you can still stay consistent. And if that means that, hey, you're only taking your child once an hour to the toilet because that's all you can manage, then take him or her once an hour to the toilet. It's you not stopping. It's you not just throwing it out. No, I just can't do this. Don't stop. Don't stop, because that's when your child realizes that when it gets tough, you just stop. So what I recommend is, if you can't suddenly go every 30 minutes, every 40 minutes, you can only do once an hour, do once an hour. You'll still get that connection. Do that once an hour. Teething. I read an article about 2 years ago. It was some kind of news. I can't remember, but it was some kind of news. I think it was BBC or something. I seen it on my Facebook feed, and it was about teething, and I had to read it. And I was thoroughly annoyed with it, because I remember it clearly because I read it to my husband. It said, I paraphrase, that no amount of teething should interfere with your child's behavior. Think about that. If you're a parent, teething does not interfere with their regular behavior. It blew me away, and I questioned whether this person was a mom or a dad, because teething interferes with everything. My oldest son, my first child, he teethed so bad. He had cheeks. They were puffed up red. They burned every day. His nose was running. His eyes were crying. He screamed all day. I laid with him in bed and held him screaming. He had diarrhea from 9 months to 2 years old every single day because of his teething. He could not handle the pain. There was nothing I can do to soothe him, to give to him, to do besides hold him and watch him scream. Now, there was some times where teething takes a break during the day so he could play. But there was more times where I watched my son in agony, all because of teething. So I question whether this person was a parent writing this article. Every one of my child except one was an awesome teether. She screamed for 1 minute and her tooth popped. No word of a lie. Not a word. After having Orion and then Ocean and then having her scream for 1 minute and her tooth popping was a absolute blessing, because I was terrified to go through the same thing. That didn't interfere with her normal behavior. Then I had Nova. Then I had Grace. Then I had Annika. and now I have Meadow. Absolutely interference. It interferes with how they think. It interferes with how they react to things. They have very little patience. They're Klingons. They usually run a fever. They don't eat properly. They drink a lot, some of them. And I'm sure the list can go on. Absolutely. So teething can place another stressor on toilet training. And what I do, like today, Meadow is a Klingon. Yesterday we got 9 peas. Today we're at 2 o'clock. We've only managed to get 2 peas in the toilet. I'm taking her every 45 minutes because otherwise she will go insane. All she wants is mommy, 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 mommy. And guess what? More mommy. She is exhausted. She never ate her lunch. She's not interested in eating food today. She's teething. She's running a light fever. But instead of just going, oh, this is not really good with you today, I'm taking her every 45 minutes on the toilet. And yes, I'm missing some, but again, it's that being consistent and not stopping. Now, the other very important key thing is you don't want to keep your child longer than 5 minutes on the toilet. There are some exceptions to this rule, such as when Meadow goes poo. She may take about 8 minutes to go poo. She goes poo, and then if you wait a little bit, the rest of the poo will come. Then you wait a little bit, then the rest of the poo will come. So, but she's doing something. But you don't want to keep your child more than 5 minutes on the toilet. 5 minutes is long enough. Otherwise, you actually work yourself backwards because it doesn't become fun anymore. You get some books to read to them. You want to have some toys. Anything they like, get them to sit there and, catch the piece first. You got to catch the piece first to make that connection. And then after they will connect with it. But no longer than 5 minutes. This is not, you don't want to torture your child sitting on the toilet. 2 to 5 minutes, long enough. You can put a 5-minute timer on the stove or 5 minutes in your phone if you have it on with you. But don't push them. The only time that I push Meadow longer is if I know she's pooing. And a lot of times when she's finished pooing, if I wait 1 minute longer, she'll go pee. So that's understanding my child, but otherwise do not keep them longer than 5 minutes each time on the toilet. Now let's go back to sickness. So you have, teething, you have sickness, same thing. And if you can only do once an hour, and let's say the world is just crashing in on you, at least get them morning and night, before and after meals. Just keep it up. Whatever you do, do not quit, because then that's when you fail. And it's harder to tell a child, hey, let's try this again, let's do this again, because then they don't take you seriously. Once you start, you keep on going. The other thing that I do is I'm in northern Alberta, Canada. So we have winter months between October and sometimes starting November, but on average, end of October all the way to April is considered winter here. And so that's when I also like to toilet train, is when I'm stuck inside and can't really spend all my time outside in the garden and playing with the critters and hatching and all that fun summer stuff. So that's also when I choose to toilet train. I also choose to toilet train this side because I do not go to town very often because I am schooling my children. I homeschool all of them. So I am a very dedicated mother and teacher to them. So basically, I kind of hibernate at home, literally. We run our own business. I have a cat boarding business, so I run our own business. So that's why I do this in the winter, because I am at home. I'm in the house already and I'm not going in and out of the house. So take that in consideration of your climate and area. When are you the most in the house? So I'm going to give you some footage. Otherwise, I sure hope that... The other thing is I toilet train also with a diaper. So I don't believe in having your child having pee run down their legs or making puddles on the floor. That only teaches them to pee on the floor and to play in it and all that kind of stuff. That's not cool. So I train with a diaper. That's why I wanted to see how many minutes they go, and I just keep that diaper on until I know they're getting all the pees in the toilet. Then we transition to underwear. Are you ready? Yeah? We're gonna use the toilet, okay? So now what's important here is I told her what we're doing. She knows what's going on. And she's teething, so she's gonna be fussy. And take off her diaper. Okay, let's go up. There you go. Good girl. Good sitting. Now, that's her cue. She wants a book. Now, it's going to be a little hard, Meadow, for me to talk and read a book. So let's see if I can keep her calm enough. Go, Pee! You see that? Good girl! Pee! That's Pee! Good girl! Good girl! Good girl! So, there you have it! Good girl! Mommy's so proud of you! Good job! So, once your child is used to it, even though she's teething, she knows exactly what's happening. Good job! Good job! So in this case here, I'm not going to worry about the book because what I was going to say is you can read to her. Well, actually, maybe I'll do this. You can read to her while she's on the toilet, like this. Right, Meadow? What does a dog say? Woof, woof. And she loves books. So we keep this going. The other thing is, if you want to come around here, Ocean, let's put on the other light, is we have a basket. These are our bath toys, but the bath toys has turned into fun toys too. And sometimes we got to entertain her a little in her 5 minutes as she looks through her book because she likes kissing dogs. And of course, she's not going to perform for the camera, but you went to pee, which I'm so happy. Okay, and sometimes we just entertain, whatever. The other thing is I have baby wipes here. My homemade baby wipes are here just in case I need them. The other thing in here, I also have gloves just in case because of a major accident. Let's say I got her halfway through her poo and I need to clean her up nicely. I have books here. I have interesting books, stuff she likes. You were being so patient there. So in here, so I've kind of turned the washroom. We only have one washroom for 8 people. So I've kind of turned this washroom into a entertainment toilet training time. So this is awesome. We are basically 2 weeks today. Just over 2 weeks. And so as soon as I put her on, she's starting to associate pee in the toilet. I am proud that we caught that on camera. So that's what we set up to keep her going. She has some toys here and to keep her busy. Okay, we're all done here? Okay, I'm gonna put this book away. We're gonna wipe you up, okay? Clean her up, and then we just simply put back on her diaper, like so. Yeah. Now, if you're not as good as me putting on a diaper standing, you can definitely have a bath towel down and put on the diaper there. Okay, another really important topic is reward/treating the child after they went pee. And there is countless viewpoints on this, and I'm just going to stick to what I do, and you can take that information from there. So Meadow here, being 14 and a half months, she wants nothing more than to please mom. Nothing more. She loves when mommy claps, and you saw that she loves it. And that's the reward she gets, is mom super happy. And there's nothing like a happy mom, right? And that's one reason I just love toilet training them at this young age, because they're not at that stage where they want to throw huge tantrums, or I'm going to do this, no mom, you can't tell me that, and walk the other direction. They want nothing more than to please you at this stage. So I don't do any kind of candy treat. I don't do any kind of treats at all. I did that with Grace, actually, when you were her age. I did a banana treat thinking, hey, you know, after she uses the toilet, I'm going to give her a banana treat if she does something. Ho, ho, ho. I was not prepared for what? You, Grace, decided that every single time that I put your little bum on the toilet, do you know what you did, Grace?
No.
You threw a tantrum. Oh my word, you were kicking and a flailing and a screaming. Do you know why?
Together.
To have a banana treat. As soon as her bum hit that toilet seat, she was like, well, I'm sitting here. Wah, wah, wah. I want a treat. And I put a stop to that like now. Because that's not the point. The point is not the treat. The point is learning to go. And she wanted the treat right away. And how do you reason with them when they're this age? You're training them to grow up. And I stopped that, so I never again went to treats. I've also, some people like giving a toy. Now there's only so many toys you can give, and then what I find is, not with toilet training, but with other things, if you always constantly give a toy treat, then basically what if you don't have a toy? Then what they do is, children can be very, very selfish, and they just chuck a toy out. Well, that's not good enough, mommy, I want more. And they throw a tantrum, and I won't even go down that road. The other thing that I do not do on the toilet is have electronic device. Now, I am not anti-electronic devices. I have a Galaxy, I think mine's a Galaxy 8 model. My husband has a phone. I'm on YouTube. I can't be anti devices. I have a Facebook account. My business is on Facebook, on the Facebook side. So Kitty's Home Away from Home is on Facebook. I depend on that social media for my family to thrive with Kitty's Home Away from Home. So there's the good point. There's a good point, blah, blah, blah. There's a good part to electronics, and then there's a negative part. And what I find with children is that the addiction level is really, really high. So if your child expects the electronic on the toilet, expect to give it to them always, because they then will sit for the electronic. Now, I personally do not let Meadow play with any electronics, none whatsoever. She actually knows when somebody sends me a message through business, she actually hears the different ding on my phone that goes off and brings my phone. That's as far as it goes with electronics. Why? Because I want her to know the simple things of playing like this. Just enjoying the playing with her sisters. That is enough. That stimulates her brain. I want her to be able to play with balls and to be a kid without the electronics. I want her creative mind, her juices to flow. And I do this with all my kids. The older kids can search on Google, but everything is very controlled because I want them to love the simple pleasures of life. Go outside on the acreage, have fun with the animals. So I am not anti-device, I just really regulate it because I have seen the negative. I have let my children have devices, and they decided that even 2 or 3 days within playing simple games on there, even though they were controlled for only 30 minutes, that's all they wanted. They were like, well, everything else is boring, Mom. I can't do this, I can't do that. Oh, Mom, can I just play a game? I realized really quickly that, hey, you know what? You were just fine before this device. You enjoyed coloring, you enjoyed writing, you enjoyed hiking, and now everything seems boring. So it's an overstimulation in the brain, and it produces that same satisfaction as a drug. And so I really am careful with my kids. I'm also careful with myself. I'm not on there all the time. I'm on there definitely for business and obviously for YouTube. But I just want to really put that out there. If you like to do devices, go right ahead. But just make sure that your child will demand them, because they expect, as they sit on the toilet, they want a device instead of a simple book or anything. So if you don't have your device and you are out, and let's say you're at somebody else's house or you're toilet training and you're taking her at Superstore to a public washroom and you don't have your device, you may be running into some problems there. So keep that in mind. The other thing is, watch out for toilets that automatically flush. They scare your child like crazy. Okay, I went to Superstore and I was toilet training one of my kids and I can't remember. Hey, it's okay. And the toilet flushed automatically because she was light enough that the toilet's like, well, nothing else is on here, and just flushed. I could not put her on that toilet. Like, she knew it was Superstore toilets. She was so freaked out. So now when I'm toilet training, I know which toilets automatically flush and don't, and I make sure that when I do take her out in public, and I do have a fold-up toilet seat, that I find some toilets that do not automatically flush on her. So topic is, how do I get my child dry at night? Now, my first focus is during the day. As they grow, 2 years old to 3 years old to 4 years old, there's a huge growth in bladder, and they can hold more. And when they become about 3 years old is when I really, if they are dry already, some of my children were automatically and some were harder. But if they aren't dry already, I limit the liquids after 7 o'clock in the evening. So they have supper, but no liquids after 7 o'clock. And no, at supper time, I make sure they don't get watermelon. They don't have heavy dairy. They don't have any kind of juices, because that all acts as a diuretic, and it just seems like they cannot hold their bladder. So if they want any juice, if they want milk products, if we have watermelon, I make sure that happens breakfast or lunch, or up to about 2 o'clock, stuff like that. So I watch a bit what they have. I'm not limiting water. At supper time, I usually just do water or kombucha. If I'm doing kombucha, then I kind of water it down, because kombucha is a diuretic. So then I try to make them, have a higher chance that they're dry. But it really is a progress. And some children are dry automatically. I mean, my Ocean, she was dry. She was toilet trained at 16 months. And guess what? She was also dry at night. Well, I've had some kids not dry at night till they were 3 and a half, 4 years old. And that's a work in progress. Sometimes if I know that they just kind of wet the bed about 2 or 3 hours before they get up, sometimes when I wake up at 5 in the morning, I will take them to the washroom and then they go back to bed. And that, over a period of time, actually helps them to hold their bladder for that last little bit, because I have some children that are a bit weaker in the bladder. But other than that, it usually just kind of happens that they become dry overnight. I try to just help them by holding back the foods and liquids that cause more urination, and that seems to do the trick. There will always be an exception. Some kids will have some medical issues. Some children will always have to be woken up, or some kids just need to wear pull-ups. But on average, most children can make it through the night by at least 4 years old. So don't sweat that at this stage. I don't care if she pees her diaper right now at night or during her snooze. What I am concentrating on is during the day when she is up. to keep her dry. And that is the first thing you need to worry about. And once you got that established, everything else will just fall suit. So I really hope that helps. Shoot me some questions, and I just hope for success. And I have empowered you to toilet train your child. So that's toilet training in a nutshell. And yeah, that's all I have to say.